Hello and welcome to You Amaze Me recording with me, Amanda Baker. I am here as my human self, but also I am a therapist and yoga instructor, intuitive human being, bringing this to you on the spot. Stream of consciousness is usually how I record here. I don't typically plan what I'm going to talk about, though today I do have a little bit of a plan, more so what I will be reading to you. So whatever I speak is completely on the spot. I was sitting here, though, for the last 25 minutes trying to get started. I don't know. It took me a little bit to press play. Maybe because I'm recording and it's nighttime, I'm feeling a little tired, lots of sunshine from the day. It is the summer solstice, so it is the longest day of light, though it is already 10:48 p.m. And I wanted to get this recording in specifically on this day just to provide the energy and the light of this day, of the longest day of light of the year. Entering into a new season of summer, it felt very powerful for me. And so I figured that I had this idea while I was away on this trip to read from this book, Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life Purpose. And this book was a hand-me-down. It was a woman in my writing group, I think, was giving a lot of things away, and she had a bunch of books in the trunk of her car and offered them to us. And so this was one of the books that I took probably 3 years ago, maybe 2.5. And I had found it when I was moving out of my office and into this space. I had found it in a box just before I had left for this trip. I'm away on vacation. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to read it because I thought that I never read it. And the wild thing is that the book is filled with spots that are underlined, if you can see if you're watching on the actual video. And I had presumed or assumed that the person that gifted me, or not lent because now it's mine, the person that gave me, that I took this book from, had underlined it. And then I get to the end, and this stuff is what gives me chills. So I was reading this while I was gone on vacation. I really enjoyed it. And I had 2 points when I was reading it where I said to myself, I think I have read this before. This story sounds vaguely familiar. And I was like, no, because the rest of the book, I don't remember anything of reading. Though I get close to the end of the book, and right there it says, connect inner and outer purpose. And I look at it and I go to myself, that's my handwriting. That's my handwriting. I was the one who underlined things in this book, which I'd been underlining while reading. So I've underlined new things. And I had underlined things when I must have read this maybe 2 years ago whenever I got the book, and seeing my handwriting and being like, I've read this before. And things clicked then that clearly I did not recall. And my mind went to, this is timeline shifting, Amanda. You've shifted timelines since reading this book. And when you're in a new timeline, there are going to be things that you don't remember. And whether or not that's true, I believe in multiverse theory. I believe we can quantum jump. I believe in all of that quantum physics. But I just really found it interesting that I had that thought, and also that I clearly read this book. And now I've read it twice. It's really good. I saw it in Target with a big sign that it was the 20-year anniversary of this book being published. So this book has been out for 20 years. 20 years. And they were talking about the new earth. And essentially the idea of the new earth is evolving in our consciousness, is dismantling constructs and the ego and the systems in our capitalistic culture, and creating this heaven on earth, this new earth. And I've been hearing a lot about that recently. Strangely, I've been drawn to it, or stuff shows up on my YouTube suggested videos of people talking about, this is the new earth, this is the new earth. And maybe they were talking about this 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, I was 17 years old. And so I wasn't as into these sorts of spiritual, scientific ways of looking at yourself and the world. But this book really resonated with me. And so for today, I want to read some of it for you, and then you can decide if you want to go and get the book. But take these nuggets, like take these gems, and then we'll pick from the Woodlands Warden Oracle deck. This was gifted to me, I believe. I believe that this deck was gifted to me. Yes, it was for my birthday. I got it this past January on my birthday by Carrie. If she ever listens to this, she gave me this deck. So let's get into it so we don't use too much of our time. So I'm going to read, and then whatever comes to me, maybe I'll share and talk about. Whatever resonates for you, take it. So I'm reading from page 104, and it is called Recognizing, or under the subheading, Recognizing Your Child. You are a human being. What does that mean? Mastery of life is not a question of control, but of finding a balance between human and being. Mother, father, husband, wife, young, old, the roles you play, the functions you fulfill, whatever you do, all that belongs to the human dimension. It has its place and needs to be honored. But in itself, it is not enough for a fulfilled, truly meaningful relationship or life. Human alone is never enough, no matter how hard you try or what you achieve. And then there is being. It is found in the still, alert presence of consciousness itself, the consciousness that you are. Human is form. Being is formless. Human and being are not separate, but interwoven. In the human dimension, you are unquestionably superior to your child. You are bigger, stronger, know more, can do more. If that dimension is all you know, you will feel superior to your child, if only unconsciously. And you will make your child feel inferior, if only unconsciously. There is no equality between you and your child because there is only form in your relationship. And in form, you are, of course, not equal. You may love your child, but your love will be human only, and that is to say conditional, possessive, and intermittent. Only beyond form, in being, are you equal. And only when you find the formless dimension in yourself can there be true love in that relationship. The presence that you are, the timeless I am, recognizes itself in another, and the other, the child in this case, feels loved. And that is to say recognized. To love is to recognize yourself in another. The otherness then stands revealed as an illusion pertaining to the purely human realm, the realm of form. The longing for love that is in every child is the longing to be recognized, not on the level of form, but on the level of being. And this is what I am so passionate about, even before reading in this book. And many of the workshops that I do, what I practice, what I encourage others is in therapy sessions, in doing yoga-based therapy, and in my classes, I speak to moving out of doing and into being. And we are called human beings, exactly as it says, as exactly as Eckhart says in here, that it is the interwovenness of both, of human as form because we're physical, and then being as formless. It is the essence, it is the energy, it is the feeling, that the sensations that you experience or that you sense, not just within your five senses, but when we can pause and be still. And the more that you do it, and I invite you to do it now, place your hand on your chest and breathe, because it can be that simple, that the practice isn't, or the treatment isn't, all of these like glamorized techniques on how to heal and how to transform. You don't have to go to an all-day retreat in order to be. Every second of every moment, in every hour, in every day, you breathe. And when you pay attention to that, right here, right now, be here, breathe. And when you drop it into the breath and even notice a slight tingle sensation, you're being. You're formless. And of course, some find that really difficult because in the letting go of that, where there's no control, there's no before, there's no after, there's just that moment, it can bring up past experiences where maybe you were being and it was disrupted. And that's what trauma is. The disruption of your being, where you then perhaps have to choose between attachment and authenticity. For Mate, I think is how you say his last name. I love him so much. He's a physician and he speaks to that. I don't want to act like I created that idea that we people, especially as kids, sacrificed their authentic being for the attachment. Because if you don't listen to your parent, or as it said here, they naturally, the adult, the parent, unconsciously creates the perspective that they are superior and their child is inferior. And as soon as we have that construct that we're not equal because I'm older, because I'm wiser, because I have a degree, because I went to college, because I took these certificates and trainings, that's all made up. But because that's in place, then now, oh, child, I'm inferior. And if I don't obey you, I might be punished. You might leave me. You might abandon me. You're withholding love from me. All of that. Love then becomes conditional. And we lose that access to our being for the sake of survival. It makes so much sense. And I get why we do it. And so a lot of what I share too is this idea of, from yoga psychology, is going through the chakras. And that first one is your survival, the root. And then when you make it all the way to the top, then you get to go back down. And I don't know if anyone else has said that before, but it's something that came to me during a meditation, actually during the chakra vagus nerve workshop that I completed or facilitated a couple months ago, not even a month ago. And it's available, it's recorded. You can purchase it on my website. And so during that meditation, it clicked for me that the first, however, period of life is creating your identity here on earth, understanding from an ego-based perspective who you are to survive, and then you go back down. You reach that creative, universal consciousness knowledge at the crown, and then you get to bring it back down into form to create the most amazing, fulfilling life that you can't even imagine. Maybe that's bringing heaven down to earth, and that's the new earth. However you want to look at it, is there's going to be a point in time, if you're open to it, if you're ready, if you see it, because something like bulldozes into you and just completely shatters your way of viewing the world and way of living. And for some people it doesn't. It's one instance and you're like, boom, I am now more consciously aware and awake. For others, it's slower and it happens over time, maybe in the midst of mental health symptoms getting so severe that you just can't take it anymore. A lot of times people have I'm completely done. I am giving up. And when you hit that rock bottom, however that looks for you, just take it as I made it all the way to the top of the crown chakra. And now I get to pull from this amazing field of magic, this crown chakra of universal intelligence. And I get to bring it back down into form because you bring it back down to the root. And that's where I think people get lost and stuck on co-creation. That they don't ever make it that high, or they don't know how to bring it back down. Because once you're up here, it's like fascinating and flighty and full of dreams and like, whoa, we're just hundreds and thousands and trillions of neurons and cells firing and replicating. And we're just these like tetrahedrons spiraling in the universe. And a lot of you are like, what is she talking about? And then you get to bring it back down and you get to create what it is that you desire. And that comes from being and allowing yourself to witness yourself as formless. And really, that is terrifying for people because it is a complete surrender. And I'm not saying I'm there yet. I get this a lot of this logically and intellectually, though letting go is terrifying because we are so habitual in control and illusion and form and ego and the conditioning of how you may have experienced love and relationships, which in my belief is a part of our innate design to be in relationship. I think it's a need. And we evolve through that. We evolve through love, and love is something between you and others, as well as the world and the air, pets, animals, plants, even. Yeah, your space. But to see it, to see yourself, to recognize yourself in another is the vessel, is the catalyst for your evolution and your growth. So anyway, consider that. When have you really recognized yourself in another? And recognizing yourself in another isn't always going to be beautiful and like calm and exciting. You will be confronted and it will show you your patterns. And thank that person. Thank them. Even if it's just like from far away. Maybe don't talk to them anymore. Thank them because you learned something through the pain. You've gotten closer to yourself, to your authenticity, to being. Because when you were in that moment and you recognized something, you were truly present. You were truly being. And then when maybe that anxiety hit or that shutdown and fear hit or the panic hit, the distractions, you're no longer being. And you're no longer in that space of love. Not that the love's gone, not that it was taken away, but perhaps that was your experience, that when you have that superior, inferior, and love being conditional, then, well, yeah, if you're not who I need you to be, if you're not changing yourself for me, then I'm not going to give you affection and I'm not going to love you. And they might not even realize they're doing that. But that's where it starts. Our children are not inferior to us. And I've had some, conflict with people about disagreement. Disagreement's healthy. With people about this, where I've said that your child is your equal. And they're like, no, I refuse to live in a culture, in a society, in my family, in my household. I am the authority and they will respect me. And man, do they fully believe that. And that's okay. That's okay. But I invite in the conversation of why. So they obey you, so that they're compliant, so that your life is easier. They're the mirror. They're showing you something. That love is you recognizing yourself, and you don't want to face it. You don't want to see it. Our children are the most amazing mirrors. And when you can perceive that and what it shows up in you and where your ego lies, where you're not free, I think it's the most wonderful thing that we can do for ourselves, for others that we're in relationship with, we're in contact with, and for our children. Because they're the next generation. And they want you in that space of love. They need you in that space of real love for them to be their authentic self and for you to figure out how to be comfortable with it. Because maybe you didn't get that as a kid. And that wasn't fair. But it's on you as an adult to have the courage. And that's why you're here. That's why you're still listening. Because you do have the courage. You do have the capacity. It won't feel good, but you have it. We all do. All at different pace. All at different timelines. So I mentioned this in another episode recording about Alfred Adler because he talks about superior and inferior. So check him out. Just going to put that out there. Okay, let's keep going. If parents honor only the human dimension of the child but neglect being, the child will sense that the relationship is unfulfilled and that something absolutely vital is missing, and there will be a buildup of pain in the child and sometimes unconscious resentment towards the parents. Why don't you recognize me? Because they're not. And that moment may be how you need them to be, or you're not recognizing yourself, or you can't recognize them because they're no longer their true self. And that is the pain. When another recognizes you, that recognition draws the dimension of being more fully into this world through both of you. That is the love that redeems the world. And I feel so fortunate that I've had those experiences. Only a few. And they don't always stay. Whether that's something in me, whether that's something in them, that's patterning, that's trauma history, that's conditioning. But nothing lasts forever. And so if we can have these experiences of being recognized, seen, is essentially what that means. And so many people want to be understood and seen, which is they want to be recognized because that wasn't constant as a child. And that's a need. So go back to the last recording where I do the mirroring exercise. That's me recognizing myself in the video camera. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I imagine by the time this one uploads, that will have been uploaded. And I've been hesitant about sharing it because I did a different Bachelor meditation. I was just sobbing, and then I went right into the mirroring exercise. So you can just see my realness there. So yeah, mirroring, whether it's with yourself in that exercise, with another. So giving up role playing. To do whatever is required of you in any situation without it becoming a role that you identify with is an essential lesson in the art of living that each of us is here to learn. You become most powerful in whatever you do if the action is performed for its own sake, rather than as a means to protect, enhance, or conform to your role identity. Every role is a fictitious sense of self, and through it, everything becomes personalized and corrupted and distorted by that mind-made little me in whatever role you are playing. Think about all the roles. When I'm playing therapist, and that's why yes, I am a therapist. I'm a human being first, and less of a therapist now. Because I don't conform to it in the way that we're expected to. I'm a yoga instructor. I made up my own form of yoga. Is that being rebellious, or is that being me? These recordings, poetry, where do I show up most as a role that I really struggle with? Being a daughter and being a mother. Because I've shifted being a wife. Do we need to say that we're friends? Do you need to say you're boyfriend and girlfriend? Do you need to... I think that's language, but connectivity, receptivity, commitment. I commit to taking care of my child for him to remain alive. I commit to love. What are your roles? What roles are you working to let go of? People pleaser, the strong one, problem solver. I read this book several years ago, and it must have integrated things in me because however I got to this point in time where I've really changed so much of my life in 2025, I wasn't trying to. I wasn't trying to change anything. It just happened. Through being, through allowing, through opening, through commitment, through caring about myself, that. And I encourage you to care about you. In a world of role-playing personalities, those few people who don't project a mind-made image, but function from the deeper core of their being, those who do not attempt to appear more than they are, but are simply themselves, stand out as remarkable and are the only ones who truly make a difference in this world, according to the author. Their mere presence is a transformational effect on whoever they come in contact with. There is no secondary agenda. As a result, your actions have far greater power. You are totally focused on the situation. You become one with it. You are the most powerful, most effective when you are completely yourself. And then people are like, well, how? Do I know who I am? I'm not even sure who I am. Am I being myself? And I still question those things. Even in this life that I could say is so wonderful and my needs are met and I'm successful, I still have really difficult days. I still have mental health symptoms. That's being human. I still have misery and stress and anxiety and obsessive thinking and performing. Those are just temporary periods of time in the human existence. And the more acceptance that we have of them, then the more that we can practice and show up in our being by breathing, 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 listening to yourself, trusting your gut and your instincts, listening to the sensations in your body and what they're telling you. And it's not always about your past trauma. You like someone, you're attracted to someone. Doesn't matter if it's from attachment style or your trauma history as to why you're attracted to them. You're attracted to them. You feel something. That's a spark lighting up in you. And you stay with that without reacting to it, without impulsively leaning into it, where it then takes you into the pattern. It's like, well, enjoy it. Enjoy the feeling. Be present with it. Notice it. Appreciate it. Because then it's conscious, and that's love. To me, that's not lust, that's not infatuation. It can become that when it pulls you into the pattern, when it pulls you into the chemical addiction. When you are with that feeling, name it and claim it as love. And then once something shifts, once something changes in your body sensation where you're like, oh no, panic, alarm goes off, that's starting of the pattern, maybe of your trauma history, of your conditioning. Then listen to that signal though, because it's still present. It's still telling you something in this moment. You choose. Do I go into the pattern or do I stay with the sensation that's still present and informative of this moment? If it's anxiety and maybe you struggle with like the chasing, the anxious avoidant dance that people tend to play and fall into. And I don't think our attachment styles are permanent. I think they change depending on who you might be attracted to. And so if you're attracted to someone and they end up being more anxious, then you might end up being more of the avoidant, and vice versa. Even if you have a tendency to lean towards one or the other. So let's say you're anxious all of a sudden. Okay. The pattern might be, well, I'm anxious now, so I need to get them to like me. I need to do something about it. I'm going to text them, or I'm going to post something on social media and maybe they'll see me, or I'm going to anything that is performative that you might not even be realizing that you're doing that stems from repeating pattern. And so that's where you fall into the past. If you are with that anxiety where you notice, okay, I'm getting anxious because I think they're pulling away, or they don't like me, or I said something that is making them not interested in me anymore, or, oh, look, this doesn't work. Here's another example where they're not wanting to spend time with me, whatever. That anxiety is real to the moment and is letting you know something. Something feels off. Trust it. That doesn't mean this person's not for me. I'm going to end the relationship. That doesn't mean that you're that it's anxiety and not intuition. I think it is intuition. It's intuition of, am I going to repeat this pattern, or am I going to stay with myself? And I stay with myself in that anxiety because, oh, they pulled away. Of course I'm anxious. But I don't have, that doesn't mean that I'm repeating this or that they need to change so that you're okay. That anxiety is just saying, not right now. Not right now, because you're not in being, because something activated in you, and that is normal. And remember, you were recognized. You were recognizing you, and that's love. Recognizing you in that anxiety, seeing yourself in that anxiety. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong. Doesn't mean there's anything that you have to fix. Doesn't mean you're repeating a pattern. Doesn't mean you need to correct the pattern. You correct it by staying with it. And maybe articulating, maybe communicating, maybe you say something to the person about it. But if you go into, I need to perform, I need to get their attention, I need to say the right thing, I need to do something so that they want me, notice that. Catch yourself in that. And if that happens, okay, because that's the evolution, that's the spiral, that's where you keep learning. Give up defining yourself to yourself and or others. You won't die if you're undefined. You will come to life. So I wanted to read that to you, which I just did. And then there's another part a little bit later in the book. So I thought there was another. Well, just here, noticing a negative state within yourself. The moment you become aware of a negative state within yourself, it does not mean that you have failed. It means that you have succeeded. So we often are trying to get to happiness, chasing happiness. To me, happiness is through being. Happiness is presence. The awareness that is prior and deeper than any thoughts and emotions get you to happy. So awareness is the first step. If we're going to talk about steps, because a lot of people are like, well, how do I do this? Awareness, recognition of yourself in whatever state that you are in, moving into your being, into the being state of that. Maybe that's through breath, meditation. Maybe it's with another person. And then love. Love is the gateway because you know what you love. You might think you don't. You do. You know what you love. Engage in those things. Awareness, recognition, being, presence, being in presence, and love into your authenticity. Love is the gateway. How do you get access to love, though? Creating that safety. But sometimes it's not going to feel safe. And not everything is meant to be comfortable and calm all the time. It's a trust that you have the capacity, even if it's excruciatingly painful. No feeling has ever killed a person before. And that's when you're going to feel most alive. Acceptance. And acceptance would be somewhere on there as well. Accepting where you are is the being. Awareness, recognition, being, acceptance, presence, love to you, to fulfillment, to authenticity. Let's pick a card. What do we want to know today? Or what do we need to know today? And how will that guide our tapping practice? And just hear the card shuffle. Nothing wants to come out. Maybe nothing wants to actually, okay, I was going to say, maybe nothing wants to be tapped on today. The mouse and the buttercup. Innocence. Innocence. The 0 card. 0. Okay, before I even read it. So, according to tarot, the tarot deck, the 0 card is the Fool. It is the innocence. The Fool is when you're naive and you just jump in and you take that leap of faith. When we are born, we are truly being. Truly. Because our mental cognitions have not even occurred yet. And our instincts is for survival. And then as humans, we have consciousness and we have thoughts. And then that supports us in creating a physical life. Hopefully that is one of fulfillment and satisfaction. But we lose this childhood innocence. And I say this in one of my previous recordings where when we're not allowed to be selfish as your true authentic self, then you lose that innocence. And that innocence is a part of us. That innocence is so important to me in you moving through life whole. So I love this card right now for this day because we talked about the relationship between parent and child and the importance of love, equality. Like, I very much want to eradicate hierarchy and like power dynamics, superior and inferior. Children don't see the world that way. Let's read it, guys. Like the Fool in the tarot deck, the mouse and buttercup is numbered 0. Both cards mark the start of a journey. Both remind us that we have so much to learn. Mice are grounded and innocent, yet anyone who has dealt with a mouse in their house knows they are determined and highly adaptable. The mouse is paired with the humble buttercup, a symbol of childhood innocence. Have you ever held a buttercup under your chin? Ah, yes, right? And you're looking to see for that yellow color. According to the centuries-old children's game, if the reflection of the flower glows yellow on your skin, it reveals that you like butter. This is so cute. May you embark on a journey. Maybe you're starting a new path. Remember that innocence and a lack of understanding are only negative qualities, are not negative qualities, only negative qualities if you see them that way. Instead, they remind us of your capacity for growth and learning. What do I hope to learn on this new path? And what potential dangers should I look out for? Those are the questions. This card. I haven't picked this card from this deck before. I have no words. I have no words, only sensations and feelings right now for the resonance of this card. That's why I like the cards. I don't think the cards actually have magic powers or are like hippy dippy sort of thing. They're just a confirmation of the power and the magic in me and in you. Because things I spoke are the co-creation from this book and the person who wrote it and the connection there, along with this outward field of energy and the deck and the themes and what's meant to be expressed through me to you. So let's tap. Just going to go into it. Even though I may have lost my childhood innocence, I'm okay. Even though I don't have as much access to my childhood innocence, I accept myself. Even though I struggle in balancing between my adult self and my childhood innocence and my childhood self, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. To the eyebrow, all of this fear, the side of the eye, an attachment underneath the eye, to the constructs and the labels and the identity, to the construct and the labels and the identity underneath the nose. Growing up, to the chin, and the loss of that self, to the chest, to the child me underneath the arm that deserves to be recognized, that needs to be recognized, that deserves to be recognized, that needs to be recognized. The rest. It's happening now. It's happening now. To the top of the head. A remembering to the eyebrow. Through awareness to the side of the eye. Recognition underneath the eye. An acceptance underneath the nose of who you are, to the chin. Then and now, to the chest. In this present state, underneath the arm. I am being. To the wrist, I'm formless, to the top of the head. And I'm okay to let go. And I'm okay to let go. To the eyebrow, I am ready to let go. To the side of the eye, I'm letting go now. Underneath the eye, like I was when I was a kid. Underneath the nose, before any of that stuff happened. The chin. I'm remembering. To the chest. The cells are changing in me. Underneath the arms. Because I like to play. To the wrist and have fun. Top of the head and all the things I love. To the eyebrow. Its presence. The side of the eye. For all that I am. Underneath the eye. As a human being. Underneath the nose. I can give up. The chin. Because I'm not alone. To the chest. I'm connected. Underneath the arm. Through love. To the wrist. And trust in self. To the top of the head. And I've survived. the eyebrow. I have the capacity. I have the capacity, the side of the eye. And I call myself out. I call myself out underneath the eye. I'm accountable. I'm accountable underneath the nose. I make mistakes. I make mistakes. The chin. And I'm still innocent. And I'm still innocent. It's the chest, because every moment's a brand new moment. Every moment is a brand new moment. Underneath the arm. It's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. The wrist. Smile. I smile. Top of the head. I breathe. I breathe. The eyebrow. And I feel peace. Even if it's for a second. I feel peace. Even if it's for a second. The side of the eye. Happy. Happy. Underneath the eye. Joy. Joy. Underneath the nose. Gratitude. Gratitude. The chin. I'm here. I'm here. The chest. Nothing else exists but now. Nothing else exists but now. Underneath the arm. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to say anything to the wrist. It's felt. It's felt. The top of the head. And it's complete. And it's complete. In light, love, magic, and miracles. In light, love, magic, and miracles. Release the hand. Notice the effects of the tapping. Whatever takeaway messages you have from what I read today, from the card. Thank yourself for being here and considering what it means to you to be you. Simplify it. Awareness, recognition, being and presence and acceptance of yourself as you are. Love. Engaging and acting what you love. You know what you love, and you have permission to choose those things. Choose them. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself, listening, being here with me. If you're interested in the chakras, vagus nerve, and the soul recording that I talked about earlier, you can get that on my website. My website also has You Amaze Me t-shirts, my poetry books, the Alchemized community. It's there. So, you amaze me. I love you.